I'm curious, Kash, what are some of the challenges you faced when you went to run for governor that they brought I know you talked a little bit about it, but tell us about some of the more challenges that you faced when you tried to get into office.
Well, I ran as a third-party candidate, and whenever I looked at the offices that were coming available, I knew as an activist, a reformist that wanted to change family law, I first had to bring great public awareness to it. And so I thought to myself, if I can make enough noise as a third-party candidate, I'm going to make some people uncomfortable. And if I make them uncomfortable, they're going to try to smear me. And I knew the first thing that they would go to would be my court case right there in Lake County. I mean, I've just done a 20-year naval career. I've had a top secret clearance. I've got all of these letters from presidents or previous presidents and governors thanking me for my service. So they've really not gotten much to go on. And so what are they going to use? Well, my family court case, we can use the deadbeat dad, right? We can go after the deadbeat father and smear him for not paying child support or not paying enough child support and just paint him as this uncaring, callous, violent person. And that's what's done to men every single day in this country. And it sickens me. It absolutely just sickens me. And so I knew somebody. I really figured it would be the J.B. Pritzker campaign that would have done the opposition dump, but I knew somebody would do it. And when they did that, then there's going to be a lot of questions from the media, giving me an opportunity to begin talking about a lot of these systemic issues, orders of protection, our silver bullet, child support, false allegations, all of these number of different topics that we discuss. It was going to give me that platform. And therefore, I wanted to try and force the other candidates into having that conversation. That was really what I wanted. But I was up against one serious monster of a machine between the League of Women Voters setting this criteria to keep me out of the other debates after I spanked the hell out of their mainstream candidates, made them look like complete buffoons with a quarter of the time. They knew if I was given equal time that I would demolish these idiots. And they weren't going to let me have it. Now, something that we've talked about a little bit, but we haven't went into enough detail of, is I want you guys to consider, and I want the listeners to consider, okay, why they're keeping people like me out, why they're going to Senate in his prior family court case. Who funds the media? Okay, when you listen to radio, you watch the news, you drive down the interstate. How many attorney signs do you see? How many attorney paid every single day?
Yeah.
You get these advertisements. They're the one paying for the messaging, what's going in and what's going out. It's their money. They're the ones funding all of these cases.
He's in Arkansas.
Yeah, we got some technical difficulties. Kash will be right back. I was liking that. He is telling the truth, man. If you ever come down here where I live, we've got this one lawyer. I swear to God, guys, on every mile stretch of highway, he has 4 signs.
Yeah.
4 signs. I guarantee you this guy's got 10,000 signs just in the state of Alabama. It is unreal. There's Kash. All right, brother. Sorry, we lost you there for a second.
Keep going.
It's still not great, man. You know what? And I think that there's something to this. I think there's something to my broadcast always being interrupted. I don't think it's my service. Okay, call me a conspiracy theorist, but there's some strange things happening in this world. In social media, what you talked about silencing our voices,
Yep.
me trying to do this radio show, this is something that is a constant in my life that wasn't previously. Before I got to the level that I am now and talking about these issues, I didn't experience nearly as many technical difficulties.
I don't feel comfortable doing it. These people can. Someone who's been armed for, like Kash's fiance, who's a military policewoman, trained to constantly hold, weapons and other things that I would never dream of doing.
And Ted, let me just talk about that. I don't know if Kash is going to hear this or not, but as you mentioned, veterans, people who've been in the service, they have a role to protect their country, to protect the man to their right, to protect the man to their left. Of course, there are times that we have to be on the fence against the enemy, but the whole idea about protecting something, you are defending something. When you have a stranger, or more strangers than one, a stranger attorney, a stranger judge, a stranger other thing attacking your family, and your whole life has been set on, I need to defend my country, because part of the motivation that we say is that which is behind me is more precious to me than the dangers in front of me. We will confront the dangers to protect our family, and that's being used against you. That is so utterly perverse. And, I've seen this happen to veterans, as you've said, many veterans I've talked with. And from my perspective, I mean, I've been both a veteran, also been involved in ministry overseas as a missionary, worked among Iraqi refugees. And then you come back, so here you're a person, now you're in a different type of position of danger, but you're not carrying a weapon with you, because as a minister, you're not going out there and preaching the gospel with the Bible in one hand and a gun at your side with the other hand, especially in a foreign country. But you're doing these things because, you're trying to serve a greater purpose. And then to be, again, attacked by all of these, by many people. Sometimes it's the attorneys and the judges. Other times it's people that know you. And that's the part that really, it can be hurtful at times as well. I mean, people that even may have supported you as a missionary overseas financially with prayer, and now they're turning against you. Like, what did I do? Nothing. And this is pretty perverse, the way that our system works. And it's very difficult when people are being dragged through the mud when they've done, and I'm not saying every person, but by and large, their life is set on a life of valor, a life of heroism, a life of protection. And now we're going to use that against them. Something is completely wrong. And this is something that, I think that either the VA or the president or somebody else needs to address, because of the abuse that's taking place to our veterans. Well,
they're discriminated against. They're on long tours of duty. Kash, for example, spent months and months at a time out in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean. You can't get any lower than where he's been.
Yeah.
And so they come back, and they've been away for a while, and it's used against them. And look, we see this a lot when courts wrongly separate civilian parents. Okay, they make them go through all this reunification process. I'm not suggesting ever that military veterans should have to incur reunification. Obviously, they don't. It would be discriminatory and horrible. But it makes me wonder, in the most perverse sense, is, well, if you make all these people, you get involved between the parent-child relationship, and you basically make a relationship as hard as you can. You call it a reunification process. Why don't they do that to why don't they just, be brave, stick up, and do it to every returning service member who comes back from Afghanistan or Iraq, or never, make them go through unification counseling and all that, and see what the outcry would be, because that's the kind of things that they're faced with. And and again, rural broadband, we're going to work on that.
Yeah, I hate that Kash got cut off, because he was really hitting on one of the most important things, the thing we had talked about today, and what's going on with our veterans. I mean, I can't imagine going and fighting a war overseas and then having to come back and fight the war inside of family court. The suicide rate and the things that's going on with our veterans right now, it's sickening. It makes me nauseous, man. I can't believe that we're fighting this battle